Use him today to chat about this problem that we're having here in the landscape design world, where we're during this crazy time we're starting to get a lot more objections. I don't know if you're feeling it, but I know that I am. That clients aren't really excited about dropping really big chunks of money down right now in projects. They'll do smaller amounts, but not such the bigger pieces. And I know those bigger pieces are the lifeline to our business. So I wanted to bring him on board here and have a conversation today about how he's a chiropractor. He teaches sales and chiropractic, how he's managing objections and teaching his people how to manage objections in their world. So welcome to the show, Dan.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's good to be here with you, Josh. Wow, it's so funny. I don't really speak outside my industry. So when I get to do this, it's pretty wild. Awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So how do you guys handle objections in the chiropractic world? I mean, especially during these kind of crazier times.
Yeah, well, right now, objections they mean more now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so many of, in my industry, and I can assume in your industry, prospects are down, phones are ringing less. Our pipeline of new leads are pretty much decimated. Referrals aren't coming in. So pound for pound, each prospect that comes in front of us means that much more. So prior, I think that when you were rolling in leads, you get an objection, you're like, whatever, I got another one. And, it was always like, okay, let's go to the next thing, right? I think that's a little different now, would you say?
Absolutely. I felt it. Sure.
Right. So our industries are pretty much the same. I think all service providers right now are feeling the pinch. So when you hear things like, I got to go home and think about it, or this is a lot more expensive than I thought, or I think I'm going to have to wait till, in our industry, I think I have to wait till I get my tax money or something like that. Because in healthcare, in chiropractic anyway, it's mostly cash-based. Insurance is not usually in the game. So, we don't have a third party paying for a lot of this stuff. Okay. Yeah. Just like in your industry. So exactly. When we talk about objections, I think we got to frame it right. When we get objections, I think the first thing we got to understand is that objections, by the time it comes out of their mouth, by the time they say, you know what, Josh, I got to go home and think about it, or I have to go inside and talk to my dog and my goldfish about it, or I have to wait till I hit the lottery in 2054. Like, before they even say that, you have to all understand that this objection was already brewing. Yeah. That's just a symptom. They've already thought about this maybe 20 minutes ago, or the time that you walked in the door, or the time you picked up the phone. They've already developed the objection of, it just doesn't feel right. This guy, Josh, doesn't seem like the guy. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So knowing that, by the time you get to the objection management portion, most of the time it's too late. Okay. So once I learned that, and I know, Josh, I know you know this, but once we learn that, and you think about, whoa, wait a second. That means that once I get to the objection management, the odds of them turning around and saying yes are low. Yes. So what's the solution here? Number one is never get them. Okay. And all too often, very poorly trained salespeople, they'll do their thing and they think their thing is right because it feels good to them. And then they'll get the objection, and then they'll have followed, like, I don't know, some knucklehead sales trainer, extraordinaire, and say, this is how you handle objections. And you have this really crazy script, right? and you know what I'm talking about, right, Josh? It's like, you get there, you're like, that was the cheesiest, salesiest, like icky feeling way to handle it. So if I may, I love talking about this. So if I may, I want to share with you the worst way to objection manage. And I see this in not just in my industry, but across the board. And they'll say, oh, so Josh, you'll say, I got to go home and talk to my wife, or I got to go, talk to the kids, or I got to wait for my tax money. And then they'll say, oh, well, I'm sorry. I must have not explained what I did more as effectively as I should. Did you have any other questions about the design that you were looking at? Obviously, you called me because you were interested and you were ready to go. So can I explain anything else again? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, on the surface, it doesn't really feel like that's a bad thing to say. But subconsciously, and right now, since the marketplace is so sophisticated, what actually they think is, am I an idiot? No, I heard you, dude. I got everything I got from you. I know exactly what you want to do. I know exactly how much it costs. I'm saying I don't want to do this with you right now.
Yeah.
And then you're going to come back and ask me, did I miss something? You know what? Screw you. Now you pissed them off.
Yeah.
Now you pissed them off. So more than handling the objections properly, it's we actually make the problem worse by handling the objections the way that the sales industry says to do. And even 5 years, Josh, I know you've been in this business for a while. Isn't the marketplace different now than it ever has been than 5 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy different. Yeah, no doubt.
Crazy. They're much more sophisticated, and they don't fall for that shit, is what I'm saying.
Nope.
Okay, period. All right.
Way too smart, yeah.
All right, so back to objection. So if you get one, what I always like to do is number one rule of sales is always agree. We always have to be in agreement, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And we break this rule all the time. So one of the ways that I tell the story is, I don't know, back in the day when we're hanging out at the bar and we're at a party or whatever, I don't know, did you always want to hang out with the guy or the girl that adamantly like disagrees with you about anything? You know what I'm saying?
Hell no, yeah.
Hell no, man. You're like, see ya. Like, I'm gonna go over there. Those are my people over there. Yeah. You're not my people. So we generally just we're repelled by people that we're not in agreement with. Mm-hmm. But now, see, that's always been a Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar sales rule, right? Always be in agreement.
Yep.
However, how we agree is a little different now. Okay, so if you have said something like, you want to role play this? This will
sure,
be fun. Okay. Yeah. All right. So Josh, okay, I'm playing landscape designer.
Okay.
Oh, this is fun. Okay. Yeah. All right, this is fun. All right. So hey Josh, okay, so you got my beautiful design, AutoCAD and everything, and you saw blah 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 blah. The total cost of this is going to be $72,000 all in. That includes the design, the contractor. Sorry guys, I don't know the industry. The contractors, blah blah blah. Which way works best for you?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I have a lot of questions.
Got it. You know what? If this is the first time you're doing it, assuming it is, I would have questions too.
Yeah.
Okay. So the way that you agree, you don't just say, I agree. That's so 1980s. It's, I understand. Yeah. That's because you really empathetically understand.
Right.
So, and I'm preaching to the choir here, Josh, I know you understand this better than anyone. You're one of the best people with this, is empathetically, truly understanding the perspective of your prospect. You know Absolutely. What I'm saying?
Yep.
Even though you've been doing this for 20 years, you can feel what it feels like to sit in front of a design and feel the emotions of what it's going to feel like when it's all done. Think about how it's going to impact the family, how it's going to impact their status. And by the way, one of the huge selling, I think, sales aspects that I think landscapers should be exploiting is the status seeking urge that most people have that people don't touch. Anyway, and then also their perspective of, this is a lot more than I thought, because it usually is, right? Like first time, totally. It's always more than you thought, right? And getting into that perspective is critical. And Josh, you do it better than anybody else. And when you say, I agree, you really have to agree. Yeah. I can see why you would say that. Yeah. You have a lot of questions? Of course you do.
Yeah.
It's self-talk in my head. You've been, this is the first time you got a design. You probably had no idea what this all thing costs. Of course you think it's a lot of money. And of course you have a lot of questions. Yeah. So if I'm feeling that, then I'm going to say, hey, Josh, of course you do. The first time I did anything for the first time, I had a ton of questions.
Yep.
So let me ask you, what are the top 3 questions that you have that would help me help you? Then you have them ask you the questions.
Yep.
Makes sense? Right. Always be in agreement. Now, what happens if they say something that you don't agree with? This is the problem.
Well, you try to reframe what they're trying to ask, try to get a sense of what they're really asking, and always put yourself in their shoes. You're the homeowner and you're being spoken to by a designer, and you want to be thinking about what questions might they have, and you can kind of allude to some of those answers throughout that conversation. I mean, I just did that yesterday with a client that I met with. And, it was an interesting conversation between husband and wife, and how one was on board and one wasn't, and back and forth. But it was really about a matter of listening with, from the prospect's perspective, and thinking like, all right, well, we're going to be investing a lot of money in this space. What exactly are we trying to accomplish? And is he sitting on the other side of that table looking to exploit us for whatever money we can, put on the table? Or are we actually sitting across from somebody who's trying to really, truly solve our problems and actually cares about what we're trying to do?
And that's it right there, dude. That's it right there.
Huge.
Yeah. But the fact that you asked that question, Josh, is what's incredible. Makes sense.
Yep.
The highest and most well-trained salespeople in any industry are constantly asking themselves and trying to take note and keeping score on what the prospects are thinking, what they're feeling, right?
Yep.
And the quicker that you can adapt to what they're feeling and they're thinking before it becomes an objection,
Yep.
that is a good sales system. And I don't know about you guys, but in my industry, everyone thinks they know how to sell. And it's really sad because the people that think they know how to sell are horrible at it, because it's very selfish based. I want to say this, and I can imagine it's probably similar in your industry because you all are artists, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And artists have this thing. Okay, I have a music background, so I get like the jazz player, my friend Henry, the jazz player, great horn player, right? And plays licks like anything else. But it never made sense. Like his lines never made sense. And I'd be sitting there and I play keys and I'm playing keys in the back and we're jamming, and me and the bass player and the drummer are just like, bum, bum, bum. And then here comes Henry playing he thinks he's Miles Davis, like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he goes, this is my art. I'm like, we have an audience, man. They came here to hear something.
Yeah.
And you're doing what? This is my art. I don't care what you say. This is my art.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we operate, I think, in sales. Like, this is my art. I don't care what you think about it, right? This is my art. Yeah. Good luck. Living in your parents' basement, living check to check, hating your life because everyone's saying no to you, right?
Yeah.
Getting up on a Wednesday morning, realizing that you have payroll and you can't meet it on Thursday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of your talents and your art is wasted because everyone is saying no. I mean, that's freaking brutal, man. That is absolutely brutal. Sure. So, okay. So I don't know. Josh, if I get on these diatribes, just reel me back in, okay?
No worries. I'm enjoying myself. Yeah, I mean, for 20 years, I heard no. I mean, that's really what's fired me off in the direction here to become a master at sales. The focus is to help others not be, have to go through all that time, and to save all that time in their life to not have to do that. So I've been told no so many times that there had to be a better way out there. So
right. And I actually, off topic, when we first started speaking, it was funny because it was only until you've reached a point of this isn't working for Josh, is when you popped your head out and started looking. Because even before then, I think you were a lot like a lot of the people in this group, where they felt like, okay, sales is not a problem. I have other problems like designing or fulfilling the projects. But it wasn't until you actually learned these things is when you can go back to your 20 years and say, oh man, I made so many mistakes and I know exactly why. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, the whole time it was all about talking about me, right? I'd go out and talk to people and I figured I had to sell myself.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I didn't listen to much of what they said. So I knew what I wanted to do on the job site. I'd lay out the design and then I'd get kickback from that. They'd be like, well, I didn't really want it like that. Or, and what I found is after a lot of reflection is that it was more about me pushing my ideas down their throat, not listening to what they really truly wanted. Right. And that was a huge problem. And, I see so many doing that out there because they feel like they just need to speak and be heard and fill the air with noise. And, with our process now, it's the opposite. It's keeping our mouth shut in the beginning and just prompting clients with awesome, deep questions and having them solve their own problems and come to you saying, please help me, keep me going on this process. I love this. that's really, it's kind of it's a journey is the way we like to talk. We take them on this journey of self-discovery and of discovering what this project really means to them and what they've done so far and what the focus is and what budget might look like, but taking them on a journey that's personalized to them. And to be honest with you, Dan, it wasn't, I heard a lot of no's, but I still had maybe a 60-70% closing rate. So I was like, well, what the hell? I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad. It's good. But I sat there one day thinking, what if I didn't spend $1 more on advertising, but I could close a higher volume of people? If I could get more yeses with the same group, it cost me no more money. Bingo. So instead of putting more money in advertising, I just teach myself how to fish instead of going looking for fish. You know what I mean? So teaching myself this. So that's, obviously when you came along and we worked through and nailed that down. But now with closing rates well over 90%, it's advertising, that price hasn't changed. That cost hasn't changed. It's actually gone down, and it increases. I've got more time now with my family. I have more time now to focus on my team. I have more time to focus on driving my company forward and growing and helping and serving. All before I was going to meetings that weren't going through.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Dude, I mean, if that was a soundbite, that was a soundbite. I mean, I wish everyone in your industry could understand that.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are probably getting this on a recording, you might want to rewind about 20 seconds. That's it right there. That is the whole thing. And that's why I loved working with you, dude, because like you understood that right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? You understood even the closing ratio, how that has such a huge impact on your advertising, your marketing, and most importantly, your headspace. You know what burns people out in any industry is constantly, desperately looking for new business daily.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember, we're one man and one woman shops, right? We do the marketing, the advertising, the sales, the fulfillment, the follow-up. Most of the time, we have a couple of people helping us with X, Y, and Z, but we're it. You have companies out there, Fortune 100 companies. Remember, they have a whole floor of people just working on new business. That's all they do.
Yeah.
That's sustainable. But for the person that's doing it all, like I'm telling you, man, it just chips away at your soul when you consistently have to think, where is my new business coming from? Where's my ad out? And reducing the strain on your advertising and your marketing does wonders to not only your bottom line, but just your general headspace of, okay, am I a marketer or am I supposed to be doing, like there's confusion on which hat that you're supposed to wear.
Yeah.
It's huge, man. That's well said.
Not even mention the level of confidence internally. You said mind space and headspace, that the level of confidence when you're like, you know what? I'm going to go out and meet with this client, and there's a 9 out of 10% chance that I'm actually going to be closing this client and spending an hour or two with them, but walking away with a commitment from them, whatever that means. But going into it that you're going to be able to add the value. It's not even about the money. It's about adding that value, knowing that your time was well valued and that they actually find that you're going to be the right fit for them. And you're doing that on your phone before you go out to this meeting, so you don't have all that time. Now, our territory for my business here, Master Plan, is up to 2 hours from my door. Right. So it could be a 2-hour drive, 2-hour conversation, 2-hour drive. That's practically a day. And to get a no out of that is a tremendous waste. So
dude, can I curse on this?
Yeah, you can. Go for it.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, sure.
It's just really fucked up. It's like, why? It's so heartbreaking. There's nothing more heartbreaking than pouring. And by the way, it's like you've spent money and time to acquire this prospect. You spent time on the phone. You sent a questionnaire. You've done all your preliminaries. And then all at the end, you get that no, and you get someone that says, I got to go home and think about it, or feel like, and you get outbid by some. By the way, getting outbid, and can we talk about money for a second?
Go for it.
And this, I see this in my industry all the time, is like, they said no because I'm too expensive. Like, that's messed up. That's not true. That is not true.
Same here.
Because there are so many people out there who spend premium on something premium, knowing it's more expensive, and happily pay for it, right? Mm-hmm. Don't shop it around. And they actually know, in this day and age, the marketplace understands that your pricing is also a quality and a marketing consideration. Let me repeat that. Your pricing is a quality, a result, and marketing consideration. By mere virtue of you being priced higher, okay, put you in a different category, which actually can increase the close if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because you are premium. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And in our industry, we teach premium because we represent a way that we do our stuff is premium, better than anyone else. And anyone's watching this, and anyone in your group, if someone isn't here thinking, and by the way, I can say whatever I want here, Josh, so I'm just going to say it. If you are sitting here thinking, I don't have a good service, get out of the business.
Yeah.
Really, because if you shouldn't be doing this, if you don't think you have a good business or a good service,
Absolutely.
you don't think you're the best, and you don't go in there knowing that you're the best, you'll get chiseled. And this is what happens. You are so desperate to get the yes, you make these concessions that you should never be making. Oh, you want that water structure that is going to cost me about 40 grand? Okay, I'll throw that in. What? No, I'm not sure if you throw that in, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you don't throw that.
I get it. Yeah.
What are you talking about? What do you mean you're going to throw that in? No, I'm not going to throw that in, you know? And so when we look about pricing, we don't close better by lowering our prices. Okay. That's commodity-based selling. Ears of corn, barrels of oil, pens, commodities, holds no value other than the actual product. But we don't have a commodity. We have a very distinct and unique service. And selling that is way different than selling a commodity. Commodities, the only thing you can sell is by price, right? How cheap can you go?
Yep.
I don't think this is your industry right now.
They're buying the designer, they're buying the firm, they're buying the legacy that came with all the experience over all the years. That's what they're buying. And if they don't feel the value and they don't see the value, either through marketing or through the way you convey your message or through their sales process, then sure, you become a commodity at that point because you sound just like Billy Bob down the street. You know, the guy with the pickup truck and I can do it for less. Well, of course, because you haven't set yourself apart from the other people.
Exactly.
You haven't, differentiated yourself. You haven't shown them that you understand them better than they understand themselves.
Absolutely, dude. I mean, you shut it down right now. That's it right there. All right. So let's check this out though. Speaking about the others, the competition is, just reframing competition. We used to always think like, oh, competition is bad. If Billy Bob opens up next door, it's bad. You know, if you know how to sell, and this is the great thing, if your sales process is tight, it's predictable, you're covering all the boxes, it doesn't matter what kind of client you have in front of you, the competition actually helps you. Let me tell you why. Because if you have a sales process that works, that inherently builds value for you as unique, competent, confident, certain, you know what you're doing, right? And they're going to get their needs met, their desires, and every box is checked. If you have a sales process that portrays that, it further creates disparity between you and the other knuckleheads.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If there were no other knuckleheads, you would be like everybody else. There was no way to distinguish you as different, right? So let me build this scenario. And by the way, I'm a consumer of landscape design, okay? I have a home. It's a very nice home. It has a great yard. And we just moved here in June last year, okay? Mm-hmm. And if you move in June, you don't do anything to the house until the year after, right?
Yeah.
That's where I am right now. By the way, I would love for all of you people in this room to pitch me. Seriously. Yeah. seriously. And so I'm in this situation. So I understand that I'm a consumer. And if I am in a position to buy, sorry, I lost my train of thought. What was I just talking about?
You were talking about your new homeowner and that you're in the market for this kind of landscape design.
That's right. So if I'm in the market for this landscape design, ultimately, what I'm looking to do is to buy something and purchase something that is premium, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So as a home, all right. Let me just phrase this right. I have a home. I love my home. Mm-hmm. I spent premium on my home, right? Okay. As a consumer that I am, I'm going to want to spend premium on the stuff that goes in my home.
Yep.
that is not so far. I'm not going to really shop around for thrift. I'm going to shop for quality.
Yep.
And the fact that I'm a sophisticated consumer means that I'm going to look for things that are premium. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. So,
Yep.
for example, Josh, when you came to me, you knew that I was premium because that's what it was, and you paid it. Yes.
Yep.
Exactly. And you got what you got.
Mhm.
Just as an aside, I just got my garage floors done. Right. You do know everyone does garage floors. Okay. Everybody. I've got quote, and I have almost a 4-car garage and a lot of square footage, and I got quotes for like 1,500
Mhm.
all the way to 15,000.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So where does my head go? 1,500 by mere virtue of that price. I'm thinking, yeah, you're one of those. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
15,000. Oh, you're one of those.
Yep. You bookmarked it. Yeah.
That's right. That's just how it goes.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how that works, and you're absolutely right when it comes to the premium side of things. People aren't spending $500 to $1 million in a house just to go to, I don't know, to a yard sale and put stuff in it. You know, and if they are, well, you can't help them a whole lot. They're not going to value design anyway. They're going to say, "What's the cheapest way to solve my problem?" And at that point, contractor can come in and build them a patio, a deck, or a roof, whatever, and be okay.
Yeah.
And they're going to be fine with that. But then the next homeowner is going to have us come in and tear it all out and do it the right way.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you know what's funny is as I'm listening to you speak, Josh, it's like getting into the perspective of your prospects that you do so well is, you know, a lot of people might think that is like a superpower. Empathy, sympathy, perspective. These are all superpowers, and it's funny because you and I both understand that it's not. It's training.
It is.
Yeah, and one of the things that we worked on, and again, you do this really good because when we're role playing on these things, as you're speaking and as you're talking to me as I'm a client, what you were doing was you weren't worried about the words that you were saying because you had the system down, right?
Yeah.
So that it actually increased your bandwidth to really get in, to really feel. So I think oftentimes most poorly trained salespeople, they're in the now, they're in the present of what do I have to say next?
Yeah.
What do I have to say now? How can I phrase this so they say yes? And that's probably the wrong way to do it, right?
That's correct.
You should know what you're going to say.
Mhm.
You know it so well and you have it down so good that you have so much more bandwidth to actually feel. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. So
you'll be talking about sheep jumping over a fence, but concurrently you're thinking about, man, I wonder how long, wait, this person's been trying to figure out how to get their backyard set up. How 10 years they moved in here?
Yeah.
And they've been trying to get they have grandkids on the way? Man, I'm sure they're going to want a really nice, safe space for their grandchildren.
Yep.
So as I'm telling them about the design protocol, maybe I should ask them a little bit about the fact that how do they want things set up so that the kids are safe? Maybe I should recommend that the height of the hardscape stairs is maybe 1 or 2 inches shorter. I don't know if you could do that, but I'm just saying. Right. Maybe I should go there with that. Let me ask while you're speaking, and that's a level of clarity and mentality that only comes with proper training.
No, absolutely. It's I like to think of a well-oiled sales process, kind of like when you learn, say, the waltz, right? You're going to learn a dance, and you get the framework. You understand the movements, you understand the beat and the tempo, and that kind of goes on in the back of your mind as you're going. But then it's your job as the person that's dancing to add the personality to it, to bring it up and think 3 moves ahead and what you're going to be doing based on what your partner is doing or what their strengths or weaknesses are. But it's to create that environment where they can shine and to know that tempo, know the bass, know all that, have that kind of working in the background, and then just roll.
Yeah, dude, man, we could talk about this for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because I know you're an athlete, right, Josh? You're an American ninja.
Yeah, training is right.
That's right. And even in a sport, there's a level of unconscious competence that happens if you just know what you're doing. You know, when you're running an obstacle course, you're not thinking about where the next rung is. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You already
Yeah.
know. You're not thinking about how to pivot your body so that your center of mass is over a tree stump that you're balancing on. Okay. You just do it. So that affords you the mentality of stay ahead of the course, right?
Yep.
To know,
Yep.
okay, I have to put myself in a better position when I dismount here so I can get onto the wall faster or better.
Yep.
These are examples that pervade our society, that pervades humanity. And even in sports, like you talk to a pro golfer, they're really thinking about their swing. No, man, they're completely somewhere else because they got the moves down.
Yep.
And in proper sales, man, you got to get the moves down.
Yep.
You know,
I
before this, I thought I had the moves. I thought I had sales down.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So mistaken. Okay, but so we're transcending this, but for the benefit of your audience, we're going to talk about objections. So can we do a couple of just real deal bites that we can give some people to do right away with their prospects?
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go and think about it. It's more expensive than I thought. Wait until the spring or fall. Okay, so these are common objections you're gonna get. So number one, always be in agreement. You know what, Josh? I understand why you would say that.
Yep.
Many of my clients say the same exact thing if you're in your position. Okay. Another way to agree. Now, agreeing just opens up their heart to accept what you're going to say right after. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. As opposed to saying, something that disagrees with them. And then it gives you the follow-up. Okay. So one of the, one of the best ways that we handle objections it's really ethical and it doesn't make you feel slimy or cheesy or, like all the 80s stuff, is the if and how objection management. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it goes something like this. So Josh, is this a matter of if you're going to do this or how you're going to do this?
It's a matter of how we're going to do it.
Yeah. And almost always they say how, right? Yep. And then after that, they all got it. So, is this a matter of, is this something that you want to take care of sooner than later if finances was not an option?
Of course.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
So listen, now we have an opening. Now you could bring to the table all the other financial options that you may have to offer that they don't know were offered before that point, right? Yeah. They just put a quick no because they just think, oh, I got to come up with $40,000 right now. I got to get a home equity line of credit. I got to do all this stuff. But now it opens door for you to give them another option on top of that. And Josh, I know you teach all of this stuff. And one of the crazy things is, one of the great things that we've done in the past is role play, right? And let me ask you a question. When we first started role playing, how did it feel for you? Honestly,
it was definitely awkward in the beginning. Yeah. It's definitely awkward, but man, it became the best part of the entire process was to be able to have a safe zone to try all different possible, objections and thoughts and things like that. Not waiting till you get to the front door of your client or on that first phone call and then you blow it. When it comes up to an objection, all of a sudden you freeze and you're like, oh crap, now what do I do? Like we have the opportunity to play ahead of time in order to do that. And we do that in a safe zone so that we really don't have to worry about, others watching or thinking about what we're doing or, judging us because we're new at this. Back at that time, I was very new at it as well. So, just getting used to that environment of role play. And I've never done that kind of stuff in my life. So it was very unique, but so powerful. And one of the, the core fundamentals of our sales process. So, yeah.
Totally. And I think I heard you say, prepares you for all the scenarios.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. It's just, I don't know. Maybe the people watching can relate, but I don't know, the feeling of like being in a situation where, maybe you're asking for some type of commitment, either a financial or whatever, and you're getting to the end of the cycle and they say something to you and you were not prepared for it, you know. It's got to be the same in your industry, right? That feeling of like dread, like shit, like, oh, like where do I go with this?
Yeah.
And feeling like maybe this is, and now we start making all the excuses, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this client wasn't qualified.
Yeah.
This person's kicking tires.
Yeah.
This person is not really serious. All the excuses that we tell ourselves when we're faced with a rejection.
Or how do we miss this one again?
Exactly.
how did I end up in this situation again? That's the third time this week. What the hell's going on? There's something wrong with me.
Right.
It becomes very personal, and it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
So, I don't know, that dread of always feeling like, this is not working and this is a waste of my time. It's that resentment just chips away.
Sure.
And anyone in sales, that's why the movie or the book, Death of a Salesman, that's what that was about. It's like, it's like getting just beat down every day. Yeah. And Josh, I'll tell you, the reason I love working with you is because you are essentially in sales, right?
Yeah.
And you got beat down.
Oh, many years.
And yeah, but you still have a great disposition. You're not an asshole. Like, it didn't mess you up to the point where you just walk around resentful. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's huge, because if we're going to do this work and we're going to bring our talents and our art to the world, we have to keep it there. Like, we want to provide. I mean, you guys are landscape designers. Like, you provide happiness.
Absolutely.
That's so cool.
Yep.
And to get beat down because you're getting no after no after no because you don't know what you're doing on the sales aspect is a crying shame. That's a waste of talent, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. But that's what I got to say about that.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a ton of bottled potential out there. So many amazing human beings out there designing outdoor living spaces and all that. And, first and foremost, as human beings, we have to be good at sales. It's the one, skill that we can learn in a lifetime that will just make our lives better. From, being with a bunch of friends trying to figure out what restaurant you're going to go to, and you've got to pitch your idea. Same thing to going to the movies or whatever it might even be. Even trying to figure out what kind of vehicle you're going to buy with your wife, trying to pitch why yours is a better idea or whatever. So, life is all about sales. It doesn't have to be sleazy. It can be completely uplifting and empowering. But it's a matter of understanding that idea. What I learned from you is being in the perspective of the prospect and understanding, put yourself in their shoes and what they're experiencing, and then you tailor your message in a way that they understand that you understand them.
Yeah, man, and you get that, brother.
Yeah. Once you get them, then it's deal done.
Game over. That's game over. And I'm glad you said that, because maybe some people watching and listening are thinking, oh, sales, it's so sleazy. And if sales is really about bridging the gap between a solution and a problem, and sales is really about getting into the perspective of your prospects, right? That certainly does not sound like the sleazy sales. It certainly sounds like being a human being, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. So one of the things that we tout is that sales is actually part of the service, right?
It is, yeah.
From the moment of first contact to the part that they lean on the pen and they pay you, that's part of the service. It's not you're not trying to sell so that you get the dough, so that you get the job. I mean, that's such an antiquated view on sales. If we want to transcend this, what sales actually is a part of the service. Getting them through the sales process, right? Getting them engaged, the communication, the perspective, the service based on the perspective. The transaction of them paying you for them to do the job is just a formality at that point, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And if you think about it that way, you approach sales in a completely different way. It doesn't feel icky unless you, well, hold on, Josh. We do have to talk about the icky sales, because there's some knuckleheads out there who still do that.
Oh, there still are. Yep.
Yes. So yes, is icky sales, but icky sales. I like that term. The icky sales is really all about inward focused. What can I get from this person?
Yeah.
Viewing your customers as a commodity, right? Not someone you're trying to serve.
Yeah.
If that's the way we're selling, good luck with that, because the bullshit meter in the marketplace right now across the globe has just ramped up. Post-COVID, I'm telling you, people are going to be very discerning on where they put their money, even if they have it, right?
Yeah.
They're only going to pick the best. They're going to see, they're going to see value. They're going to see quality. And Josh, we talk about this all the time, and I know you know this better than anyone else, which is why it was pretty smart that you started to want to teach this to the people during this time, right? When everyone's hunkering down, you said, dude, I got to do this because this is when my landscape designers need this the most. So kudos to you for doing that, man, because that's bold. While everyone's hunkering down and shutting down, you're building. Oh, that's kind of the way we want to run our businesses, right?
Absolutely. No, it's absolutely true. And, it's really the allowance. It's the blessing to be able to bring this to the world, especially to my world, the landscape design build industry, where, most people figure out their own sales process. So they read a few books or go to a couple of seminars and keep trying to do things. And if they work, then they hold on to them. And when they don't, they throw them out. I mean, that's exactly how I ran for 20 some years,
Right.
and like I said, it just became clear that if I wanted to grow and I wanted to serve at a higher level, that I had to get into people's heads a little bit better in a very positive way. And then I can serve them at a higher level. So, having that ability now through this very teachable sales process and all this fun role play, and it allows for others who are sitting on the fence thinking, 50-60% closing rate is okay. We're getting there. To think that it's even possible to go higher than that and not have to spend a ton of money to do it, and to have something you're going to be able to use for a lifetime. And not just in your business, but in life in general. You start thinking different. You start acting different. Everything is just different once you do that in the most amazing way. And again, we lead our clients on a journey. That's how we like to see it now. And we are the guide for them. So being a better salesperson allows us to guide them better through the forest and through the jungle, and be able to figure out what their priorities are, and what's in it for them to get this project done, and what does it mean for them long term. What do they see their future looking like once this is done? And how are we going to manage budget? That's something that everybody, every client has a certain budget that they're working with. So how are we managing that early in the process so that it doesn't become an objection later? If the budget line goes all the way across from the first conversation to the final design, and it's all a straight line or less, what objection are you going to get?
Exactly.
It's just having that open communication, being the guide, taking their hand and walking them through the entire process, and thinking of it from their perspective, and being empathetic. And, designers, we love to create things, and we love people. So having a system that allows for that in there as well, and it's not, regimented, scripted, everybody's the same bullshit. It's, that's not going to work.
Right.
People aren't going to be able to get their personalities out, because it's not about taking your personality from you, making you somebody else to be able to sell. It's bringing you to the top, and all of the things that make you different, and then just having a framework to put that on, so that that by doing A, B, and C in that order, you're going to get the effect that you're looking for, but you add your personality to the framework.
All right. Can I just say something to everyone out there? All right. Josh is a really good teacher of this stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, because what you just said is like the end product. But even in the teaching process, because of your connection to just the human frame in general, because I know you do a lot of studying outside of business too, okay? Personal development. I know your wife, she's bang up. Your kids are awesome. You have a banging business. You've launched a new one. And someone who does that stuff, okay? I'm not just saying this blow smoke up your ass, okay? People do that stuff. The one common denominator on almost every successful person that I've encountered in my life is their perspective of the person that they're trying to help, and laying out information, strategy, motivation, whatever, so that it's actually consumed by the person that he or she, or that you are trying to help. Make sense? Yeah. And so, Josh, you're a great teacher of this stuff. I mean, if I was a landscape designer, I'd be like, dude, sign me up. Let's get some yeses, So good work on what you're doing. Anyone who works with you is lucky, man, because they don't even know what they're gonna get yet. It's just so cool. But the end product is awesome. But the process is a ton of fun too.
Thank you, Daniel. A lot of that comes from a lot of your hard work over the years, developing your system, and and then us working together to adapt it into the landscape arena, landscape design arena. Again, because so often what we get is, in our world at least, is other industries trying to, push their information or their sales model into ours, and they just don't get our words. They don't understand the struggles that we go through. They don't understand the design process, because they're either contractors or they do big industry, and we're not big industry. We're mom and pop. We're, roots to the ground. We're in it to win it. And we have the want to hand this off to our children, and to keep it a small business that always serves people. Right. And, this was such an opportunity that really drives deep into my soul to be able to help, and to be able to help others that struggled as much as I had in the past with this.
Cool, man.
So,
well, you're doing a great job. And one more thing, about adapting the sales process is, so many people in my industry, I'm sure in yours, is, they go to people like Grant Cardone and Gary Vee, and these are great people to follow. They have some good stuff, but none of them ever will adapt their sales training for your industry.
Exactly.
No one will do that.
Yep.
And Josh, you've done that because I've seen what you've done. And it doesn't break any of the rules,
Exactly.
And that's hard to find. So good work. Keep it up, brother. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, man. Awesome. So do you have anything else for us, Dan?
No, I don't. I think I pretty much put it all out there. We can have this conversation again, depending on what people want. But I'll be back.
All right, cool. I look forward to it, Dan.
All right.
Thank you, Dan.
Your guy. You're very welcome. See you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Bye.